In this video, I will be talking about the best metal albums for the month of July. This is part 2, so I will be focusing on albums released after July 15th. I already did part 1, and you can check that out if you haven't already. I will also be focusing on albums that I didn't do full reviews for. So, for example, I'm not going to include the new albums by Christian, Oceans of Slumber, Jack Starr's Burning Star, and Hatriot. I have full reviews. I will link them at the end of this video. So, let's start. I have 6 bands. First one I want to talk about is called Chaosbay. They are a progressive metalcore band from Germany. The album is called 2222. So it's a futuristic concept album, very similar to like the recent albums by Shinedown and Coheed and Cambria. The sound is very unique. They have a thick, down-tuned metalcore style riffs, but they also have a lot of keyboard textures and melodic vocals. They add in heavier vocals when necessary, but this is mostly melodic metal. But like metalcore, they have those heavy breakdowns. They mix in some electronic sounds. So in the end, the songs are still heavy, but with this modern pop sound as well. Lots of good songs here. So the song Passenger has a nice mix of the melodic and heavy vocals. They add in some thick metalcore riffs, and they alternate between the harsh and the melodic vocals. The drumming sounds very good. It sounds, the songs take lots of twists and turns. Another song is called 2 Billion, and this one has a lot of those like stop-start riffs played with some futuristic keyboard sounds, and the vocals on this one are very melodic, and they also do some heavy stuff as well. A song called All This Beauty Can't Be Real. This one has an electronic intro, and then it gets heavy with some complex riffing. Now I'll talk about another band called Funeral Chic, and the album is called Roman Candle. So this band plays crust punk. This is a unique combination of black metal and hardcore. And it's actually my first time listening to this style of music. Now my first impression was that it's similar to like sludge or stoner metal. The first song, Made in America, has like a slow beat with these stop-start riffs, and they add in like other instruments. The song keeps going back between like the riffs and the vocals, and then the song brings in like this fast drum beat. And it sounds like a psychedelic rock followed by some like fast-paced riffing. At times the guitar reminded me of like Motorhead with those like fast-paced, high-energy rhythms. And then the song then had a breakdown where they slowed down with like some sludge riffs. And the sound like changes like throughout the album. So, for example, the song Lose sounds more like punk rock and classic metal, and it has that like bass guitar intro and the fast rhythms. This song has a drum beat and lots of guitar solos. And then there's a song like Built to Love where they start to add in some chunky riffs, and then they go into a mid-paced rock rhythm. This song reminded me a little of like Rob Zombie. Then another song called Born to Kill. This one has those like spacey rhythms and drum intro, and kind of reminds me of like Monster Magnet, and I think like the vocals actually reminded me of like the band Clutch, something like that. The band is different, kind of hard to put them into a specific category, but they blend a lot of different genres. Next band I'm going to talk about is Imperial Triumphant, called Spirit of Ecstasy. So this was an album that just got a lot of hype. They are an experimental avant-garde black metal band. Hard to describe. It was just a very weird listening experience for me. The only thing I could say, it was just the music was very like heavy, and the sounds were very like dark and evil. To me, it was like listening to like a scary movie, and there are people who have been calling this like the best metal album of the year. I think if you're into like black metal or extreme metal, you could consider this. It was a little extreme for me, but I definitely just liked it. I thought it was like very good. And it was one of the most unique sounding records I've heard so far. So the album, it's just 8 songs, 54 minutes long. The first song, Chump Change. This one just starts off with like this extended drum solo, followed by some riffs that seem to like mixing like jazz and black metal. The vocals were like very dark and evil sounding. Then they started playing some like dark and heavy riffs with some like strange sound effects in the background. Almost like sound of like explosions far away. And it was just a really different listening experience. Then Tower of Glory, City of Shame. This one starts with like the sounds of like an old horror movie. Kind of like an old movie score with some like spoken word parts. Then they play some heavy riffs and some distorted bass riffs and complex drum patterns, and seems like on this album they're just experimenting with different ways to like make sounds with their instruments, and they actually made it work. So if you're into like this extreme metal, definitely check this out. It was really good. Then the next one I'm going to talk about is the band Ithaca with They Fear Us. So they are a female-fronted metalcore band. They're fairly new, and this is their second album. Now I know a lot of other channels have been, giving this some very good reviews, and I think this stands out because there are some heavy elements of metalcore, but they mix in some clean vocal sounds. These songs have like a nice blend of heavy and light, where one aspect does not overpower the other. I also feel like they're trying some interesting things with the guitar riffs, since they are like typical metalcore style riffs, but they seem to be playing around with like different sound textures. It's a good album. It's only 9 songs, 35 minutes. There are some good songs here. So the song The Future Says Thank You. This has some brutal and heavy riffs. The vocals go back and forth seamlessly between like the harsh and clean vocals. The song Camera Eats First has some thick and heavy guitar riffs, some aggressive vocals. The guitar riffs kind of go back and forth between the thick and heavy riffs and the cleaner, more atmospheric ones. Then they try some different types of sounds with guitar riffs. So towards the end, they play a few lighter songs. So these ones are more atmospheric with clean guitar riffs and slower beats. Then the song You Should Have Gone Back has like an almost smooth jazz feel. The final song, Hold Be Held, sounds more like a modern pop sound. It's a very laid back ballad, but it's done very well. Has some interesting percussion and a really great vocal performance. So it's a nice way to end the album with some like the lighter songs at the end. So, a lot of people are saying this is one of the best metalcore albums of the year. And I don't listen to a lot of metalcore, but I think it was very good. Now for some hard rock. So we have the band Sinner with the album Brotherhood. So they are a German hard rock / metal band. And they've been around since the 80s. They have released 20 albums, and I would compare them to the other like well-known German bands like Scorpions or Accept. I'm actually surprised I'd never heard of this band before. They're very good. The sound is melodic hard rock, but I hear like a little bit of power metal, but some of the riffs are really chunky, like almost like thrash metal, but they do always still retain that like melodic rock sound. This band plays high energy rock music. The songs are like very catchy, and the chorus is stick in your head. So for example, the song Bulletproof, this one has some melodic riffs, kind of like maybe some like old like Iron Maiden style riffs. They have some chugging guitar rhythms and some memorable chorus. And these songs are filled with just awesome guitar riffs. Another song, We Came to Rock. This has a cool groove metal sounding guitar riffs in the intro and some melodic vocals. It's a very memorable song with some cool backing vocals in the chorus. Then the song Refuse to Surrender has some chunky guitar riffs, but also a sound that reminds me of like those 80s glam bands. Then another song called The Last Generation. It's a power ballad, has some clean arpeggios and distorted sustained power chords. This is another cool melodic rocker. They use some keyboard sounds in the mix, and it's a good album. I'm actually surprised this band is not bigger than they are, because they are a very underrated band and they've been around a long time. And I'll talk about one more band, and that is Mantar. So they are a German sludge metal band consisting of 2 members. The album is called Pain is Forever, and This is the End. The album has 10 songs. It's 42 minutes long. A very unique type of band. They take like the sludge sound, but they find new ways of making it interesting. So the opening track, Egoisto, sounds like a mixture of like grunge and black metal. Has a dark tone, moves at a mid-pace. The vocals are very harsh and the guitar riffs are very dirty and distorted. The song Hang 'Em Low, So the Rats Can Get 'Em. This one incorporates some clean guitars with some heavy chords and an overall dark tone. The song also is a little catchy, almost like the band Nirvana, but with like a darker vibe. Actually, that was like what I was thinking of with this band, like a darker Nirvana. But anyway, another song, Orbital Pus. This has a sound clip from like this fake commercial asking people to join a cult. Then he incorporates some of those like sludgy guitar riffs and harsh vocals. And this reminded me of like Rob Zombie, when he does those like B-movie clips. And another song of Frost and Decay adds some clean guitars in the intro. They play some heavy riffs, mixing like a grunge and metal with some cool haunting background sounds. And this one has a dark and haunting tone and moves at a fairly slow pace. good album and mixes lots of different influences that are not really easy to fit into one genre. So that is all. Like I said before, please check out my full reviews that will be appearing on screen right around now. They are Christian, Oceans of Slumber, Jack Star's Burning Star, and Hatriot. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.